Hello students. Yesterday we have seen the calculations for the speed of transverse wave and the speed of longitudinal waves. So in case of transverse wave, we have seen that on which factor the speed is dependent on. Like we have taken the case of a stress spring, and there we have seen that the velocity of transverse wave that is produced here due to the vibrations of the particles or constituent particles of the spring that are vibrating perpendicular to the direction of propagation, and due to that a transverse wave is produced. That factor depending on two quantities, first is linear mass density and second factor is its tension, and with the help of that we have derived a formula with using dimensional analysis. And later we have seen the velocity of transverse wave for the solids. In this we are taking the concept of Young modulus, and latter actually in case of longitudinal wave we have seen that formula, and also in case of longitudinal waves, as they are the particles that are oscillating in the same direction as the propagation of wave. In that case on two factors that the velocity of longitudinal waves that is depending on, first of all the bulk modulus of the material, and second of the case that is the density of the material. So as both factors, I think that is clear to you why we have taken so. And later if suppose anywhere there is no change in volume, only change in length that is taking place, then in that case we will use the Young modulus concept in place of bulk modulus. So finally we have obtained a formula in case of longitudinal wave, that was this wave rho. Clear? We have derived this formula also with the help of dimensional analysis. So I think that is clear. So today we have to study what is the Newton's formula for the velocity of sound in gases. So Newton's used this formula for the velocity of sound or to calculate the velocity of sound in gases, and actually he gave us a empirical formula. Empirical formulas are those which we are getting from the experiments. So these formulas we are also getting from the experiments. Actually we have seen experimentally that the velocity of wave that is depending on these factors, like velocity of waves that is depending on the factor density, that is depending on the factor bulk modulus of the material. So with the help of that we have just derived a formula. After means these types of formulas are known as empirical formula. So Newton derived a formula empirically, and after that he even calculated the velocity of sound in air, and for the his calculations and for his derivation for this formula, Newton assumed that there is a change in pressure and volume takes place, but there is no change in temperature takes place in the system. Means all the system that is isothermal. So either he has taken two concepts, actually there is change in pressure, and obviously actually we are taking that here rarefaction and compressions, that in case of longitudinal wave. So whenever the particles that are compressed, the pressure is increased and also the volume is decreased here. So change in pressure and volume is taking place here, and also when there are when pressure is decreased, volume is increased here. But he has taken the concept that the temperature of the system that is constant, that is not changing. So he assumed one thing, that during compressions, as the pressure is increased, there is the production of heat, and that or production of energy you can say that, and that energy is transferred to the surrounding in that case. So in every compression there is the production of heat that is transferred to the surrounding, and also in every rarefaction there is the loss in energy, and that lost energy is maintained from the surrounding. So in this way, if as a whole you can see that in every round, every complete rotation, as there is one rarefaction and one compression, then the amount of energy that is lost in rarefaction that is gained in the case of compression. So overall the energy of the system or temperature of the system that is constant here. So he has taken the concept of isothermal process here. So I think there is no confusion in that section. This is the concept of Newton. Later we will see that whether this concept is correct or not after the calculation of speed of sound in air. So he just denoted that the speed of sound in air by this formula, and this is the formula for the longitudinal wave. Or obviously you know that sound waves that are longitudinal in nature and they are longitudinal waves, so this formula can take there for the fraction here, and here the rho is the density of our medium, and this B is obviously bulk modulus of the medium. So these two things we have, and how can we calculate velocity with the help of that? So first of all, he just calculated the value of bulk modulus for air or for the gas in which sound is propagating. So for that case, suppose that P is initial pressure, V is initial velocity, and for the isothermal reaction, we know that here isothermal process we are taking. So for isothermal process, we know that the equation of that is denoted by PV is equal to constant. Clear? So if this equation you can take, then let's differentiate it, this equation on both sides. So after differentiation you can obtain here PdV plus VdP, that will be equal to 0. Or from here you can also get the value of pressure. Value of pressure that will be minus of dP into V divided by dV. Clear? Or if you can solve it, so then here we can obtain dV upon dP upon dV by V. Clear? So this is the expression for the bulk modulus. If you remind in elasticity, you have just these things. This is force per unit area, or the pressure in case of volume change. Obviously in case of volume we are just applying forces from all possible directions normally, then in that case we can see that we are applying pressure on the system. So that is denoted by this, and this is strain. So stress upon strain, that is given to us, that is bulk modulus. So as the bulk modulus, in case of bulk modulus, strain is volumetric strain, that is given by change in volume upon original volume. So this value is equal to bulk modulus. So simple, bulk modulus is equal to the pressure of the gas. So in case of bulk modulus, we can use pressure of the gas to show this formula. So finally this formula Newton has obtained with the help of experimental way and experimental formula that we has, and this formula is obtained for the sound wave that is propagating in gases or in air. Okay? So let's see that whether this formula is correct or not. So for that we can calculate this velocity V, and for the calculation what we need, that we are needed here. Suppose that here we are going to calculate it, the velocity of sound in air, and in case of air we are using the standard temperature pressure here, or normal temperature pressure you can also. So here P, that is equal to, you know that P, H, G you can use also here. So as the value of H, that is 76 centimeter of a column of mercury, and if you can solve it easily with the help of the concept, so this will be equal to minus 76 into 13.6 into 10 to the power 3 and 9.8 here. So with the help of this we can calculate what is the pressure of air at normal temperature pressure, and also density of air, that is equal to 1.293. This density is 1.293 kilograms of meter cube. Means in 1 cubic meter molecules are there. So this is the density of air molecule, and this is the pressure in air that at the normal temperature pressure. So let's put these values in this equation and calculate the value of V. So after calculation, we have obtained the value of V, that is equal to 280 meter per second. So we have calculated the value of longitudinal wave or sound wave in gases or in air, and that is obtained with 280 meter per second. But experimentally it has been seen that at normal temperature pressure the speed of sound in air, that is 332 meter per second. So experimentally this sound is 332 meter per second, and we have obtained the value of sound in air with the help of Newton's formula, that is 280 meter per second, and this is very less, and if you can take the difference of these, then that difference, that is equal to 332 minus 280, so this is 52 meter per second. This is the difference between the values that we have obtained experimentally and theoretically with the help of Newton's formula. And after that, if you can take the percentage error, suppose that here some experimental error can be produced, so we can also see the experimental error here. So for that, so 2 upon original or the speed that we have obtained with the help of experiments, that is T2 upon 332. If you will solve it, then nearly it is obtained 16%. So it means that there is the 16% error while we are calculating the velocity of sound with the help of Newton's formula. So while calculating velocity of sound in air, we have seen here 16% error, experimental error that is produced. So actually if experimental error is produced somewhere, then a large amount of experimental error cannot be produced. And Newton's also tried to give a number of idea for these discrepancies, but nothing was satisfactory there. So hasn't accepted his fact there for the velocity of sound in air. So as I think that is clear to you, so later Laplace, that he has tried to solve the discrepancies of the velocity of sound in air that is obtained while we are using Newton's formula. So Laplace told us that Newton's assumption was wrong. Actually, Newton assumed that the system is isothermal. So that assumption is wrong. He has proved us that there are two reasons for this. First of all, first reason is that the production of compression and rarefaction, that is very rapid, and if this a rapid change in wave means wave is actually, you can see the velocity of wave 332 meter per second, that is very high speed, and at such a high speed obviously the compression and rarefactions that are forming in the wave, that are very rapid, and there is no time to exchange heat for them. So if they are not exchanging their heat to the surrounding during the production of compression and rarefaction, then definitely there will be no transfer of heat to the surrounding, or no gain of heat from the surrounding during rarefaction. So ultimately, if you know that if there is no transfer of heat to the surrounding, or from the surrounding no heat is taken, then that process is known as adiabatic process. So Laplace told us that the process will not be isothermal, that should be adiabatic. The first reason, I think, as that is clear. Simple reason is that here the compressions and rarefactions that are very rapid, and in that rapid process there is no time to transfer its energy to the surrounding. So that's why due to rapid change there is no transfer of heat energy that takes place or from the surrounding or to the surrounding, nothing is taken place, so process is adiabatic. Second reason is that you know that already ki gas is bad conductor of heat. So gas molecules doesn't allow to transfer their heat to the surrounding or take heat from the surrounding, so they behave just like the adiabatic way. So if they are not transferring their energy to the surrounding, then obviously they are behaving just like adiabatic way. Then how can be the system will be isothermal? So first of all, this correction that has to be done in case of Newton's formula, and he has corrected that formula while taking the assumption of the adiabatic process. Clear? So if you suppose this formula that we has, that is velocity that is equal to bulk modulus per unit, this is, and in this case Newton has taken this as the isothermal, and Laplace just corrected this and he has taken that this is adiabatic. So suppose we are denoting it by PA. Now let's calculate this bulk modulus as we are taking adiabatic concept. So in case of adiabatic concepts, you know that the formula for adiabatic process, so the formula for adiabatic process that is given is equal to PV power gamma is equal to something constant, where gamma is the you know that is adiabatic elasticity of the medium. So if we take this factor, then that will correct our formula easily. So this is the formula for this, and now let's differentiate this. The process is same actually, but only we have to change the process here. In the case of Newton, he has taken the process isothermal, and Laplace just corrected that process. He has taken it adiabatic. Now later let's see that whether this is correct or not. So for that, if we just differentiate it, then we will get something gamma. This is v power gamma minus 1 into dv plus gamma into dp. This will be equal to 0. Then again, if you will solve gamma p here, then gamma p that will be obtained. This will be equal to minus dp v power gamma divided by v power gamma minus 1 into dv. Clear? And again just solve it. Then finally we will obtain gamma p that will be equal to minus dp divided by dv to v. Or again, if you will solve it this v, then you can write it like this. So this is the formula for the bulk modulus as we have seen also in the previous case. So this is bulk modulus. So the change, if you are seeing here, the change is only this gamma. When we were taking the case of isothermal process, then this bulk modulus for isothermal process was equal to the pressure of the mix. But here, when we are taking adiabatic concept, then in that case, this pressure is multiplied by a factor gamma here. That is adiabatic elasticity. So let's put this value here. So finally we will obtain the velocity of sound in air that will be equal to gamma p by rho. Clear? Now again let's calculate the velocity of sound in air with the help of this Laplace formula. And here we know already that if we are taking root p by rho and we have solved it and we have obtained velocity that was 280. So only if you will multiply this root gamma to this 280, then we can solve it. And this value for the air, that is 1.41. So if you put this value here, and after solving this whole value, we have obtained the formula that was value that is 332.5 meter per second. So here we are seeing that this value is in the good agreement with the experimental value that we have obtained for the velocity of sound in air. So this is the correct formula here. we have obtained for the velocity of sound in air. So simple Laplace make the correction for the Newton's formula, and he has just taken the concept of adiabatic process and he has corrected the formula, and after that we are now able to understand the formula for the velocity of sound in air. With this formula we can calculate velocity of sound in air at any temperature and pressure. Here we have calculated it at normal temperature and pressure. So at normal temperature and pressure, the velocity of sound in air, that is 332 or 333 meter per second, or 331, somewhere that will be also. So that depends on the temperature and pressures conditions. So process in the propagation of sound in air, that will be adiabatic, not isothermal. Means there will be change in pressure takes place, there will be change in volume takes place, and also change in temperature takes place during the propagation of wave. So I think there is no confusion in that section, guys. What is the process behind the velocity of sound in air? So we have discussed is in the details. So I think the concept of Newton's formula, and also what was the discrepancies, how we have removed it with the help of Laplace formula. I think both all factors are clear to you. Seen the Laplace formula, and with the help of Laplace formula now we can understand what are the factors that can affect the velocity or speed of sound that is propagating through any medium. And suppose that we have we have to take the concept of velocity of sound in liquid, or in case of solids. We have already calculated it for the air at normal temperature pressure. We have calculated that. So we know that the formula of velocity of sound, that is equal to b upon rho. Yeah? If we are taking the example or case of gas, then in that case we have to take the atomicity factor there. But if suppose that we are talking about the liquid and we are talking about the solid, in that case this bulk modulus, that is playing a very important role for the calculation of velocity. Obviously you know that solids are less compressible than water, and waters are liquids are less compressible than gaseous systems. Then obviously if compressibility of solids are less, it means that their bulk modulus are highest, and obviously if you can see the bulk modulus increasing way, then the bulk modulus of solid is greater than bulk modulus of liquid, and it is greater than bulk modulus of gases. Clear? So it means that if bulk modulus of solid is greater, so greater will be the bulk modulus, greater will be the velocity of sound in that particular medium. So in the in solid materials, velocity of sound is greater than the velocity of sound is in liquid, and the velocity of sound in gaseous system. So the minimum velocity that is obtained in case of gases, and the maximum velocity that can be obtained in case of solids. In some of the solids, this velocity is obtained nearly 6400 meter per second. So like in aluminium, that velocity is obtained. In case of liquids, we can obtain 1500 meter per second velocity easily. In seawater, that velocity is produced. And in case of gases, we know already the velocity is what? Clear? In case of actually hydrogen, we can obtain 1200 meter per second speed also. So that I have told you, that is depend on the density factor, and also that is depend on the atomicity factor there. But the most important factor that affecting the material for the propagation of sound wave through it, that is its bulk modulus. So as the solids are less compressible, then they to vibrate the particles in rapid way. It means that the velocity of sound, that is greatest in the case of solids, and that can propagate through the very high speed through it. So with the help of solid materials, we can produce sound in more clear way in comparison to liquids or in comparison to gases. So first factor that is affecting, I think that is clear. There is no confusion in that factor. Secondly, let's see the factors that are affecting the velocity of sound in air that we have calculated here. So in case of air, we know that we have formula for the velocity of sound, that is gamma p by rho. Clear? So first thing that affecting the velocity of sound, that is density of the medium. So if density of the medium that is changing, then obviously with change in density, its velocity of sound in that particular medium that will changes. So greater will be the density of the medium, less will be the velocity of the sound that is propagating through it. So for greater velocity, we always need less density medium for its propagation. Clear? I think there is no confusion in this section. Second section, that is affecting the velocity of sound, that is pressure. So let's see whether pressure is affecting it or not. Sorry guys. With this formula you will think that this is directly proportional to pressure, but this is not correct, as we know that the density that is given by mass per unit volume. Clear? And let's put this value in this equation, then what we will get, that will be equal to gamma, this will be P, this will be equal to F into V. And we know that if suppose that temperature is constant somewhere, then for constant temperature system is isothermal, and for that PV is equal to constant. So if this factor PV is constant, then on this factor V is depending only the mass of the particles that are vibrating and or mass of the system, and atomicity in these two factors it will be dependent on, means it will not depends on pressure of the as through which it is propagating at constant temperature. The condition is here, if temperature is constant during propagation, then in that case it will not depend on the pressure of the gas. So simple, the velocity of sound that is independent of the any change in pressure of the gas if there is constant temperature there. So here we have discussed the concept if temperature is constant. If what will be, suppose that the velocity of air if temperature is changing. So the third factor that we can see here that is affecting the velocity of sound, that is temperature. So we know that the gas equation that is written as PV is equal to RT. Clear? This is gas constant, and with the help of air we can calculate velocity here, that will be equal to RT upon V. Clear? Now let's put this value in the formula of the velocity of sound. So this is gamma, and the value of this is RT upon V, and here this value is obtained as rho, or we can also write in place of rho m upon V. Clear? And this will be cancelled out, and finally we will obtain here gamma RT upon m. Clear? So these two things are constant for a particular gas medium, and if suppose that this mass of the system that is constant, in that case velocity is directly proportional to the root of this temperature. Means if greater will be the temperature of the system, greater will be the velocity of the system. Reason why? Actually, when temperature of the gas that is increasing in that system is a heat that is producing in the system, and external energy that is producing, and that external energy will be supplied to the vibrating particles. So if particles vibration that will gain some kinetic energy from outside, then its amplitude and displacement that will also increase there, and if there will be any increase in the displacement, then definitely with the help of that velocity will also increase for the sound wave. So simple, the velocity of sound that is increased with increase in temperature. So you can also understand if in different seasons velocity of sound we are feeling different, then the reason behind it this is. Or if you suppose that anywhere temperature changes is taken place, then in that case velocity of sound will be also different at different places. Today we have discussed the change, first of all, velocity of sound in air, and for that we have seen the Newton's formula. For that we have taken isothermal concept. Later, as there were so many discrepancies, there 16% of error there. To correct that, Laplace made the correction in that using the concept of adiabatic change, and we have finally got the formula. This v is equal to rho untold comma p by rho. Okay, and after that we have seen that on which factor it is its velocity is dependent on. So first factor that affecting the velocity, that is density of medium. Second factor that is affecting or density of material, actually simple medium here we are taking. Second factor that is the pressure. So if temperature is constant, temperature is not changing, then there will be no effect of pressure change on the velocity of sound. Clear? So it is independent of any change in pressure whenever temperature is constant. Third factor is temperature. So if temperature will change, then velocity will change according to it, as kinetic energy that is transferred to the vibrating molecules there. So here directly proportional relationship between velocity and of sound and temperature of the system. So I think whatever we have discussed here, one by one we are trying to understand for mechanical wave what conditions are there and how can we calculate velocity of that mechanical wave that is propagating through it, and with the help of that we can understand concept of and the phenomena that is causing by it easily. So if these factors are affecting, then tomorrow we will see how the temperature that is affecting it, and suppose that if there is a change of 1 degree Celsius in temperature, then what will be the change in velocity of sound in air. So suppose in air 1 degree Celsius temperature has been changed, and we know that our atmosphere level that is showing adiabatic changes. So that's why if you can see the continuous decrease in temperature takes place. So if suppose 1 degree temperature that has changed, then how the velocity of sound that will be changed, we can derive a formula for this also. So later we will see that in tomorrow class. So for today let's end the class here. I think all the concepts that we have studied, that is clear to you. So let's see other factors in next class. Thank you guys.